A Song to the Tune of Love by It's_Kingston on AO3. Episode 24, Chapter 7, Encore. They made their way over to the drop tower, accurately named Heaven to Hell. Uraraka figured that writing it would likely put you in one of the other. The line was average length, which bodied well. At least everyone seemed to trust the ride. A large group of 6 people stepped up behind them, talking happily amongst themselves. Eventually the land began to crawl forwards, and they were able to get a good view of the ride. It was painted gold and red, likely to fit the theme, and had about 10 chairs on it. A quick head count revealed that Uraraka was the 10th person in line, Toga being the 9th. Well, that was alright. She'll just offer her seat to one of the 6 people behind her once they got to the end. When the ride dropped, the screams causing the hair on the back of Uraraka's neck to stand on end, the buckled came up, and the people, a mix of terrified and excited, dismounted the ride. The ride operator cleared them all to the side after a second, then beaconed the next group on. "Next," she called. Everyone in front of Toga got into the ride, and she followed them up, taking a seat towards the end. There was one space left beside her, as Uraraka knew there'd be. "Hey, would one of you like to take my seat?" Uraraka asked a group behind her. "I'm not a fan of these kind of rides." "No thanks, we're wanting to all go together," the boy closest to her replied. "Yeah, you go ahead," another child added. "Ma'am," the worker forward. "You holding up the line? Could you get on now?" Sure," Uraraka said stiffly, walking to the ride, and sat down beside Toga. The buckle fell down, locking everyone in tightly. "Hey," Toga grinned. "You could have stepped off to the side, you know. Thanks for coming with me." I didn't think about that," Uraraka mumbled as the ride went up. She watched the ground disappear further and further under her, and it was nothing like her quirk, aside from the sickening feeling in her stomach, that is. "Here." Toga held out her hand. Uraraka quickly took it. She hoped she wasn't holding on too tightly, but couldn't bring herself to let go, even if she was. "It'll be fun. Just relax. I'm right here, and we're doing it together." "Yeah," Uraraka said softly, her words taken by the wind. They reached the top soon after, and the ride stayed still. "The view is actually nice from up here. I don't know what I was worried for." Oh, yes, the job. Uraraka remembered what she was worried for. And if she screamed in terror the whole way down, well, maybe it was alright. Maybe the ride deserved it. Toga laughing all the way down didn't seem to think so, though. "No more rides from now," Uraraka breathlessly declared, as they exited through the opening in the fence. She let go of Toga's hand when they stopped and the buckles lifted over their heads, but now held on again. If anything, it'll keep them from getting separated. Or rather, keep Toga from running off excitedly at the drop of a hat. "I was getting hungry anyways. What do you think they have?" Whatever fair food is. I've never been, remember?" "I know, but you could still guess." "Okay, fine. Probably something like, togoyai? Probably cotton candy? Maybe there's some American stalls, too." Toga hummed. "Sounds right. Let's go look." After 20 minutes of walking back and forth, they finally decided what to get. Food in hand, they found a little unoccupied bench to sit on. Finally! Toga dropped onto the bench, took a bite from whatever she had gotten. Uraraka wasn't really sure at this point. All that walking was because you couldn't make up your mind. Uraraka took the last bite of her own meal, or as close to a meal as fairground food consisted. "I already finished my lunch." "That's 'cause you ate while walking," Toga murmured around a mouthful. She swallowed, lifted a hand to point towards some roller coaster. "That looks fun. The one with the flames and twists." "Flames?" Uraraka looked around, wide-eyed, at the roller coaster. "Where?" "On the side of the cart, silly." "Well, you said flames and twists. I assumed both were a part of the track." That sounds like a roller coaster Dobby would make. Toga laughed lightly. Sounds like what would happen to a roller coaster he didn't like. We should go on that once I'm done eating. Toga took another bite. I think we should wait. Maybe check out the games? We didn't get to while we were eating. I'm still eating, so we could, Toga replied. Yeah, Uraraka let out an amused hum. We can wait if you'd rather, though. It'll be easier for you to play some games without food in your hand. Oh, yeah, true. I'll be quick. Toga tore another bite from one of the two indistinguishable items she purchased. Well, Uraraka supposed she herself bought most of the items, save for the second item Toga had apparently gotten in a split second she was out of Uraraka's sight. Soon enough, she was done eating, and the pair stood from the bench, walking towards the row of games-based stalls they've seen at the teacups. They spotted Dobby and Spinner, both men arguing, by the final stall. Spinner cast an arm to the side, pointing to the field. Dobby crossed his arms and turned away from the field. I wonder what they're yelling about, Uraraka said. They're adults too, they can solve it. Let's try and knock the bottles down. Toga stepped over the first stall, dragging Uraraka by the wrist with her. Not that Uraraka needed a reason to not get in the middle of an argument. She would have avoided it herself to begin with. Step right up. 200 yen for 3 balls. Each tower you knock over nets you a large prize. The man running the stall explained. He wore a bright red jacket and held a black cane tightly. Sounds fun. Toga clapped her hands together. She dropped 200 yen onto the counter and the man took it. Plopped 3 basketballs onto the counter in return. The towers were about 10 feet back and the bottles looked tinted, as if they were weighted. You've got to hit the top to knock them over. They looked rigged. Uraraka said softly. Toga nodded. She gripped the ball, tossed it up a few times to gauge the weight, and launched it. It flew over the bottles, hit the back of the stall. I'm better at throwing knives, Toga murmured. She handed one to Uraraka, kept the last one to throw herself. I can try, Uraraka replied, but I'm not really good at these kind of games. It's fun, just give it a shot. Toga tossed her last one, scraping the edge of the first tower. Whoops. Uraraka got as comfortable as a grip she could manage on the ball without using her quirk, and beamed it at the tower. Instead of hitting the top of the bottom row and causing the tower to crash, it hit the bottom of the middle row, and some leveling of whopping. The tower remained intact. Dang. Uraraka sighed. It was a good try, though. Yeah, let's move on to another one. Toga looked down the row, eyes narrowed. The sun wasn't as bright any longer, and Uraraka supposed they had 2 more hours until the place closed. Oh my god, okay, the drop. Yeah, the drop always has you there for like a couple seconds and then it drops you, right? It's always there for a couple seconds and then it drops you. That's scary. The games are rigged. I did not know that what's it called? The ball toss to the bottles one was, I knew it was rigged, but I didn't know how it was rigged or how to win it. There's certain ones where I know how to win it. Like, for example, that one where it's like the ladder, not the ladder, but ladder looking thing that's, you know, kind of in a slant that only has like 2 strings at each end. That for that one, you have to focus on your center mass. That one's less rigged in the sense of like they're doing something to make it harder. That in itself is hard, right? So if you're really good at, you know, centering your body mass and centering your center of gravity and stuff like that with balance and stuff, you'd be better at that one. So someone, let's say, who plays gymnastics or is in ballet, you know, sports like those where you forcefully have to keep balance, you would be better at those, right? You would be better at that. You would be able to win that. I have won that once before, mainly out of pure goddamn motherfucking luck. Because, I'll be honest, I got on it, and my strategy was, I was in the age gap where, like, not age gap, but it was in the time where I was like really obsessed with the Flash, specifically CWs or WC, whatever, specifically that show, The Flash, right? That is the only Barry Allen I will ever accept. I will not accept the new Barry Allen in the movies, especially after hearing some of the controversy. I also just don't think he gives Barry Allen. He doesn't give Barry Allen. He's giving frat boy. Barry Allen isn't a frat boy. Barry Allen looks like he hasn't touched a woman in centuries. And by that, I don't actually mean it. Man's has game. But like what I mean is like, it's not giving nerd. It's not giving cute, adorable, lovable nerd. Right? It's not giving hee hee ha ha nerd who knows sciencey stuff, who happens to, like, it's not giving. Okay? It was not giving. I watched the movie. I did not like it. It was not giving nerd. I hated it. And I haven't seen any other iterations of The Flash, but I might as well because I'm starting to get back into that. Look, some really good edits popped up in my For You page, and goddamn. But anyways, I was in that, like, Flash era, and I thought if I go fast, it would work. And it did. It just did not work the third time, or the second time, or the fourth time, or the fifth time, or the sixth time. I just got really fucking lucky that first time. So I just bolted through, and I won a big prize, right? I do not know where that goddamn prize went. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't be able to just be like, hey, here's the teddy bear that I won. I do not know what happened to it. I was little, okay? This was back in my hometown. I was little. I was like 8. For all I know, that teddy bear could be in flames right now. But no, yeah, it was. I always love fairs and stuff like that. The games, it's for fun, and it's less of like you're actually trying to win. But I know that there's like little tips and tricks to each one. I think the ring toss, I do not remember what the trick. Spinning it was the trick. I think. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content. And thank you so much for watching.